And in case it's not working, don't hesitate to yell, because like sometimes like I won't be able to see you, so don't hesitate to communicate with me through the chat, and don't hesitate to mute your microphone when it's not working.
Okay.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So let's begin the training. So as I said, like I work for Future of Waste, which is a partnership between Make Sense and a big multinational that work with waste and water. The objective was to help social entrepreneurs that work with waste prevention, upcycling and recycling in any sectors: food, energy, construction, plastic, textile, anything. And like we organize like hold-ups, creativity workshops, DIY workshops. We bring expertise about compost, plastics, and stuff like that. And we're organizing a campaign which is called the Waste and Climate Campaign, which aims at showing that social entrepreneurs that work with waste issues can have a huge impact on climate, and that's not only the negotiators and the big companies have the key in their hand. So we write articles in the Huffington Post about those solutions and the impact of the solutions. We build a methodology to try to estimate the positive impact of, of social entrepreneurs. And from the 22nd to the 29th of November, we are organizing the Waste and Climate Hold-Up Week. That is, we're going to help a social entrepreneur in the whole world to solve their challenges so that they can have a better impact to fight climate change. When that is said, so the first thing when you want to do to make a hold-up is to get a training. You really have to make a training because it will help you to get to get in touch with the right person, to know how to interact within the Make Sense community, and to have access to the right tools. I'm going to ask you who is already part of the Make Sense community. Nobody's answering.
Clara.
Clara is part of Make Sense. Leo, his mic is still off. Okay, Tim is part of it in Master. Maybe when I ask question, maybe it's better if we give the answer on the chat so that we have less mic problems. I will send you afterhands all the stuff I'm telling you about. So the first things to do in the community is that we have community developers worldwide. For instance, in Latin America, we have somebody full-time in Mexico. Sorry. Sorry for the noise. So I will send you, there's a link, it's called join.makesense.org, and like everything is explained on that website, so that like you can get introduced in the community, join the Facebook group, and get help from the community developer that are in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia, and everywhere. I will send you also this document when there is a little checklist of all the things that are necessary when you organize a hold-up, as far as logistic, as communication, and everything is concerned. But like this isn't worth like doing this online because like you'll take time to read this after a while. The first thing about organizing a hold-up is first of all to understand the challenge. There's something like the people most of the time don't spend enough time speaking with the entrepreneur, and you cannot help somebody if he doesn't want to be helped, or if you don't understand its real need. So there's quote from Albert Einstein that's given 1 hour to save the planet. He would spend 69 minutes understanding the problem and 1 minute solving it. So when you want to help a social entrepreneur to solve a challenge, you really have to spend as much time as possible. I would say at least 3 or 4 hours speaking with the entrepreneur, so that you really know what he's expecting from you, what is the current situation, and how you can help him. So don't forget to spend the necessary time. You will find there's a little booklet that I already shared on the Facebook group that will help you better understand the social entrepreneur. So the booklet is something like 7 or 10 pages, I don't remember. But if you feel those questions, if you ask those questions to the social entrepreneur, you will have a rather good understanding on what's his current situation and how you can help him. And last but not least, you should define what is the expected output of the challenge. For instance, I was just like with somebody who's like collecting organic waste in farms, and we spend a lot of time talking about how we could work with the farmer, but he forgot that his main challenge was to have the good containers so that he can carry the organic waste. So maybe like speaking and interviewing the entrepreneur, you will have the ability to better frame the challenge than he himself did and understood its proper needs. So that is the first step, is to really define as well as much as possible the challenge of the entrepreneur. Then something that's really important also about the beginning of when you've done that, you create Facebook events, you prepare all the logistical aspects, like you have to find a place, a proper date. You have to publish the challenge you've identified with the entrepreneur on the platform beta.makesense.org/challenge. And when everything is ready, you can start share those information on the Make Sense Facebook groups. And like you can get help from the community developer, from other volunteers that work with you in the same region. And you can start like having a place, get some drinks and starters, prepare an icebreaker. Does someone know what an icebreaker is?
No.
Yes, some activities to get in good mood.
Mm-hmm.
What can
Exactly. That there's a lot of little games that you can share. Like I will share some of you, but it can be like it has an objective. Like people are coming and expected to be seated for 2 hours, and sometimes they go out of work or they just argued with their boyfriend or girlfriend. And the objective is that like you shake them a little bit. So for instance, what's something that is commonly used in Make Sense is like we ask participants and attendees to take a virtual showers. So we ask them to stand up and like to make as if like they were getting a shower. So like wash your hair, wash your armpits, your elbow, wash your knees. And that's something that's really silly, but that's help people to get in a good mood, to smile a little bit, and to be more present physically.
Nice.
Then the first thing when you start your hold up, you give like the entrepreneur 10 minutes so that he can present his project, and that's so that people can ask questions, and like he is going to respond to the questions. Last but not least, you have to present the rules because you can work and you cannot work with collective intelligence if they are not a benevolent frame that helps everybody to express himself and to reach together good results. So what I advise you to do, everything is already written in the document I will share with you.
Sorry.
Yes?
Please, could you tell us some advices about how to avoid people to judge the ideas or the challenge?
You want to avoid people to judge?
Avoid people to judge their ideas.
What is to yash?
To juzgar, to tell if it's a good idea or a bad idea.
Okay. What I currently do is that, like, when I frame, when I present, like, I present like the entrepreneur. I wrote something on the paperboard to explain who is the entrepreneur, what is his challenge, and I'm telling them that we are not here to discuss about if the project is worthy or not. If you come to the hold up, you're here to help a social entrepreneur. If you do not want to help the social entrepreneur because you do not think it's interesting, but then you're not in the proper place. It's not possible to work and to collaborate with people who do not want to collaborate with you. So don't forget your gangsters, you got a virtual gun, and if people are being nasty or noisy or yashing,
Yes.
tell them that maybe they're in the wrong place. So don't forget to tell them that you're here to help a social entrepreneur. If you think that there's another project around the corner, and then it's better to go to the other project. But if you came to that specific event, you're here to help him. Maybe you have doubts, maybe you have questions, but that's not the proper moment here to talk about the good and bad project. You're about to help them. Is it good for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so what I currently do on a blackboard or on a paperboard sheets, I wrote everything, the agenda. So we are going to present the social entrepreneur, then through its business model, for instance, and then we are going to solve a challenge during 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. So for this specific hold up, the challenge is to Of course, to solve this challenge, there are constraints. These are the stuff that we will have to identify beforehand with the social entrepreneur. There are something that is not possible during the hold-up. Like, for instance, if the social entrepreneur is working alone, he won't be able to spend like 20 hours a day on the social media. So I really advise you to write on a paperboard, on a blackboard, everything about the social entrepreneur so that people can keep in mind what is the challenge, what are the rules. Then, don't forget also to talk about like the expected outcome. And before starting, I will start to explain like the big steps of how to organize a hold-up. What is the big step to animate a hold-up? But I really want you to understand that being a good hold-up facilitator, it's all about attitude. Because like if you keep speaking like I'm doing without asking questions, people are going to get bored. So it's all about attitude. So does someone here already animated a hold-up team, for instance?
I was part of hosting a hold-up, but I didn't facilitate it myself. No.
Okay. So I really advise you to look at this little video that is published on Vimeo, who's called Hold-up Facilitation Tips, and it explains you like the posture that you have to have to be a good animator. For instance, when people are yashing your methodology, I learned a new judging your methodology. It's important to tell beforehand of the hold-up that this is a methodology that has been like tested like thousands of times, and that it's working. It has worked and brought like awesome results worldwide, and that maybe like they do not see the value at the first sight, but this does work. So when people are like putting you in difficulties because like they're challenging your authority as animator, don't hesitate to tell them that this methodology works. So there's a lot of little tips to make sure that everybody participates, to make sure that you listen sufficiently to the people, and everything is explained in that video. Now, can you see like the global process?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how we do at Make Sense to solve the challenges of social entrepreneur. First of all, we frame the challenge, like we've talked about that already. Then we make it clear and concise. So we write it on the paperboard so that everybody keep it in mind. And then we have several phases, several steps. Most usually, like we start with a creativity phase. It means like we have to reach for quantity, and like people like will go in in really crazy ideas, and we are looking for a lot of ideas. Then we're trying to channel all this creativity so that all the creativity can respond the challenge of the social entrepreneur. And then after we've channeled it down, we are working with feedback, with prototype, and we end by pitching the solution that have been founded. Okay, these are the main steps. But let's break down each one of those steps. First of all, for the creativity step, you have to write on the blackboard or on paperboard sheets some rules, because like people, especially if you're working with people that have never done a brainstorming session, or people that are something like 50-year-old and that are not accustomed to this kind of workshop, you have to explain them the rule. So they can be easily remembered because like you can make it ideal. Ideal means that you have to explain them that you have only to express ideas. It means that the idea has to fit. You're going to ask question, and they have to answer the question, but they cannot like speak for 5 minutes. They must make it concise enough so that it can fit on a little post-it. So make it clear, only ideas, not sentences. Then you have to develop on other people's ideas. It means that every time you write a single idea on your post-it, you have to say it out loud and to listen to everybody else, so that people don't have the same idea at a different moment without listening one to another. You cannot also explain to people that they cannot judge the ideas over, because maybe some idea that looks silly at the first place will give idea to someone else who will bounce on it and find a brilliant idea. And like if they start to be censored, people will not feel experts, and the creativity step will not work. So only ideas, make it short, say what you write and write what you say, listen one to another, don't judge ideas, go for quantities, even if the quality is not there for now, because the quality will go at the next steps, and no censorship. So this is the first phase, and this is called the brainstorming phase or the divergence phase. Do you know where the word brainstorming comes from?
No.
Nope. So most people think it's about like storm, like the weather, but it's not. It's a military term that, for instance, when someone is held hostages, when there are hostages in a building, like the militaries are going to storm the building, which means that they're going to enter the building in every way that is possible. So they're going to go through the basements, they're going to land with an helicopter on the rooftop, they're going to break the window and come through the window. Some other will come through like the channels, the aeration channels. And when brainstorming, it's about like you've got a problem and you will go through the problem through all of its angles. And so you will have to find different questions that will help attack your problem through different angles. Does someone here, for instance, has a challenge for a social entrepreneur he knows or he has that we could like make an example with? No? team, maybe Clara. Okay. Let's pretend that, for instance, I know a good social entrepreneur in Belgium that like she makes rental for pregnant women. And like she called to us because like she doesn't understand why people come to the website and they do not buy. So that's the challenge she assigned to us. I want to understand why people to make people buy when they come to the website. So there's the problem, people don't buy, but maybe there are several like sub-problems in this problem. Maybe the clothes are too expensive, so maybe there's a question that you have to ask during the creativity, the brainstorming phase. Maybe people does not understand how the website is working. Maybe people don't buy directly, but they want to come 1 month after because mother behave in a certain way. So you have to think about like maybe it's not the good target, maybe it's not the good tool, maybe it's not the good moment. So you have to go through the problem and ask yourself. So what I do is for the creative workshop, I prepare at least 15 questions that will help me to go through the problem, asking the people, like for instance, okay, so what are I will stay with that example of rental clothing for clothing rental for pregnant women. I will ask people during the creativity workshop. So, where do pregnant women go shopping? So people, and then like people will give an idea, and they will, okay, great. What else? What else? And I will try to reach for each question that I ask 10 answers. So now that I ask them like where do pregnant women go shopping, I will ask them, so what are what do pregnant women pay attention to? So someone will say, okay, they want to be they pay attention to the price because it's expensive for a child. They pay attention to the fact that it's not polluted. There are no things that will make their baby heal. The pregnant women, they pay attention to the fact that it's lovely and they're like little teddy bears. Some pregnant women pay attention to the fact that they won't buy pink if it's a boy or blue if it's a girl or stuff like that. It depends. I don't judge, but people will give answer to any of your questions. And you have to prepare the question so that you will attack every angle of the problem. Is it okay for you?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So I advise you to prepare at least 15 different questions, because sometimes you ask a question and people don't have a clue, and they're not inspired. If they're not inspired, like don't focus on something that's not working. Just switch to another question so that people can get better inspired. So you can ask those kind of questions. You can work with like analogies, like for instance. Let's pretend like, okay, if I was a Mario Bros, if I was a Nicolas Hulot, if I was a Ban Ki-moon, how would I do to? And then like people will go give answers. So you can work with analogies, and that is the most like I think it's the better part of the hold up. If someone has a good idea, don't hesitate to drop the list you prepared and to add a question that has been made like made to measure on the spot. For instance, if someone said that pregnant women they mostly go shopping during oh no, they don't go shopping because they comment ça s'appelle les trucs avec les bébés là, les warming shower party, baby shower. Okay. Pregnant women don't buy clothes. They get offered clothes during their baby shower. Okay, and then like you can jump on the question and say, okay, what are the most common stuff that are offered during baby showers? And so you can jump on if there's an idea that you find really relevant, you can jump on that idea and ask 10 questions about that specific idea that you just got. Okay, now that let's say that you got you got your 100 post-it on the table, and you went for quantity, but it's not really helpful because it's only post-it and it won't help the entrepreneur. So now that you got that, you will ask people that they were seated around the table with post-it and pens, and then you will ask them to stand up, and you will tell them that they got the right to 10 crosses, and you have to dispatch your 10 crosses to the best post-its or to the best ideas, and they only got 5 minutes. This exercise has two goals. The first goal is that people will be compelled to stand up and to run and to like make a little exercise, and he will help to see that the post-its that will have the most cross will tend to be the most relevant. So maybe these are the post-its that it's going to be interesting to work with during the convergence phase step. Okay? So when you got that, you got ideas, you can see easily what are the best ideas that came out of the brainstorming step, and then you're going to split people in different groups. So this is called the clustering phase. You will make people, you will cluster people in different groups. What I advise you to do is to prepare clusters with the entrepreneur. You always have to ask the entrepreneur who are his customers. And for instance, for the pregnant woman clothes rental company, let's say that we've seen that there are several customers. That the people who buy for the women who buy from themselves for themselves, the husband who buy for the woman, and maybe like the family or the colleagues that buy for the pregnant woman. So it's either a present for the husband, it's a self-present, or it's a present for the family and from the colleagues. So maybe it's a good way to make clusters, but most of the time maybe you can like see according to the post-it that you've and the idea that you came with during the brainstorming phase, you can see that maybe you can cluster stuff that is more about communication, stuff that is more about strategy, stuff that is more about social media, stuff that is more about magazine. But the goal of the clustering phase is to make like 2, 3, or 4 groups according to the number of attendees that you got at your hold-up. Is it still okay with you? Do you got any questions? No.
So you prepare the clusters beforehand together with the entrepreneur, or you make the clusters during the process?
What I do is that just in case I have some ready-made clusters before the hold-up, but the best situation is that I don't use them because it came out spontaneously during the brainstorming phase. But just in case, I like to have thought it beforehand, because if it's not obvious during the brainstorming phase, I can still resort to it. But I'd like when it pop out spontaneously. Okay?
Okay.
So
you make the clusters as the facilitators. You don't ask people what clusters they see emerging.
No, like as I said, no, I didn't explain myself well. As I said, I prepare beforehand in case the attendees do not succeed spontaneously to find themselves the clusters.
No, but I mean, then ideally there should be clusters emerging from the ideas themselves.
Exactly.
Instead of using the ones that you prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But then during the process, do you, as a facilitator, say, okay, this is the clusters that I see coming up from the ideas, or do you ask participants what clusters do you see in the ideas that came up?
that team, that is exactly, that would be the best situation if the attendees want to cluster themselves into groups. If the group are forming spontaneously, that is the best situation. Because like some people, they are really willing to make to work with social media, and they will get along well. Some other people will be willing to work on a specific target, on a specific project. So if it comes at the best situation, and if you help people to form groups spontaneously by themselves. If it doesn't work, you can resort to the post-it to help people form in group. If it's not spontaneous, you can use the cluster like you've thought about beforehand to cluster the people in different groups.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going through the convergence steps. So during this phase, the people, each group, each cluster will have to work on a specific project to respond the challenge of the social entrepreneur. For instance, for the pregnant woman clothing rental, she wants people that come to the website. So let's say that there is a group who will make maybe at that moment, this is really important. This is why it's important to frame the challenge with the social entrepreneur, because like you have to give a template to each of the group. You will give them a template. Okay. So the social entrepreneur, she wants a new customer journey in her website, so that to make sure that people who come to visit the website, they buy. So you will have a template, and for instance, like you can make 4 steps, and you can make you can make like at first, so they arrive at the landing page on the home page, then they click on that, then they click on that, and then they give their credit card number so that they buy the dress. And at each step, each group will find different solutions. So this is why, but like this is really important. Okay, I will share my screen now. One sec. Go for it. Can you see my screen?
No.
No? Okay. One sec. Okay, it's not the proper screen I shared. One last time, sorry. Still not the good.
Diana, I think if you mute your microphone, then the screen doesn't always go to yours. So like this, it's a bit distracting if the screen always changes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just
one sec. Alors. Okay, great. I have a good example right now. I will share it with you. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, for instance, I just had this hold up last week, and we wanted someone, she wanted to have good slogans and visuals for her campaign. So the template I gave to each of the cluster, it was like if it was the front page of a magazine, and each group has to draw to get inspired from the post-it, like in the brainstorming phase, to come out with a good idea of visual that would help them reach their audience. And then we on the second block, they were asked to find a catchy slogan. And then on the third block, they were asked to write a 700 character description of the project, catchy catchy description. So the better you frame the templates that will help the clusters to attend the challenge, the better it is. Because if you just give a blank page, you run the risk that people will not answer the question that the entrepreneur has asked. So for instance, this is one example, for instance. If people want a catchy slogan or visual, you can make like if it was the front page of a visual, and or it can be a simple grid Excel sheet, like for instance, or like this was for a crowdfunding campaign. Each group had to focus on a specific target and design a communication campaign describing what are the contents that were going to be shared every week, where those contents were going to be shared, and who was going to share those contents. And then, like as you know, and they were also asked to give retribution ideas for the contributors for €5, €10, €50. So all this to say that when for the convergence phase, you really have to give the group templates so that it's more efficient and so that they attend the entrepreneur's need. Is it still okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Just one question here. So how do you make sure that there's a good transition between the clusters of the ideas and then the template that you're using? So because if you're working with clusters that you didn't expect, then how can you have a template that addresses that?
Okay, you know what the entrepreneur is looking for. If she is looking for a slogan in your template, you will have to make your cluster work on slogans. But each cluster, yes, I understand what you're saying. When people like form groups, or when you advise them to form group, it's always according to the entrepreneur's need. If the entrepreneurs wants to find catchy name for a new brand, for example, and people they are having they want to form a cluster to make a crowdfunding campaign, it is so total nonsense, and you have to tell them. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
So, like, we're here to help the entrepreneur, and like the templates, you have to work it with the entrepreneur so that you're sure that the outcome of the hold-up is like valuable and useful for the entrepreneur.
But sorry, just one question.
Yes.
If I understood well, each cluster will work on specific aspects, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so each cluster will have a different template.
Nope. Let's take back this example of catchy names. For instance, like there was this girl who make like jam out of discarded fruits, and she want to find a catchy name for a brand, and then like on the template, you will ask people find a name, find a slogan, and explain why this name is the best. For instance, these are three blocks, 3 questions that each cluster will work on. Right. And at what time, it's important that, let's say that there are 20 people during these hold-ups, and so there are 4 clusters of 5 people who will work separately during half an hour. At the end of the convergence phase, each group will come out with a different name. And so there will be a kind of competition, because like the entrepreneur will only choose one name for the brand, but you can never know in advance who is going to be the best name, who is going to be the name that the entrepreneur is going to choose.
Okay, no, it's okay. I understood.
But they will work on the same templates, because like the entrepreneur, she wants a catchy name for a jam brand,
Right.
but you don't know which group will have the best idea.
Okay.
Could you also think of an example where you have not just the same template for each group, but you have maybe a different template for each group, or you have different groups addressing a different category of the same template?
This is also totally relevant. For instance, you can make. I sometimes do that. Like she wants to, for example, an entrepreneur who wants to gain visibility. That's his challenge. He wants to be better known in the sector, and maybe it's not relevant to use a specific template. Maybe it's better to start from a blank page at this moment, because somebody will have the idea to make a campaign in a magazine. Some other people will have the idea of making a social media campaign, and some other people will have the idea of making like guerrilla marketing in the streets. So maybe it's not relevant at this point to have a template and the same for everybody.
Okay.
Okay, but this you really have to check with the entrepreneur.
No.
You really have to check with the entrepreneur, because if, like, the guy says that he need to work on the social media because he's alone and he has no time, and he works abroad, and like other people come out with a street marketing idea, it won't match with the constraint and the necessities of the entrepreneur. So you're totally free. This is only advice I give you. The template is not compulsory, of course, but you will have to check that with the social entrepreneur. Okay?
So you could even say that one group will work on, let's say it's for a crowdfunding campaign. One group will work on the kind of the storyline for the video.
Yeah.
And another group will work on the different rewards that people will get for donating.
It's possible. Like you can have the group separate in different clusters. The cluster can be like a little bit like competitors. Only one name will be chosen for the brand, or the cluster can work on different aspects so that they're not competitor anymore. And there's a group who's working on video, and another group who's going to work on retribution. And it's as you like.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
It makes sense. It's as you like. It depends of like maybe if it's for a branding idea, for instance, it's important that the entrepreneur can choose between different names.
Yeah.
But if it's for a marketing for a crowdfunding campaign, it makes sense that maybe it's better to have each group work on a specific aspect of the crowdfunding campaign rather than being competitor.
Okay.
Okay, but you ask really a relevant question, Tim. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But it's
yes?
it's not a competition between all the groups, right? It will be a competition between the ideas of each group, or not?
It depends. If you make them work on different aspects of the problem, not necessarily. As far as the branding is concerned, for example, for the girl who want to find a catchy name for her jam product, only one name will be chosen. So it's not competition, but like there will be several options, and only one will be chosen.
Okay.
The entrepreneur will have the last word.
Yes, the entrepreneur will choose the answer of one of those groups in the whole app.
Yeah.
During the whole app, they will choose. The entrepreneur will choose the answer
Like
that fits perfect for him or for her.
nothing is compulsory. Like we're here to help the entrepreneur. Most of the time, there are statistics on that, but I think that 90% of the time, when you make a hold up and there are solutions that are proposed to the entrepreneur, he applies them. It happens that unfortunately none of the solutions that have been like proposed to the entrepreneur are chosen. It happened for a branding for the name of your product. If people think that's a good idea, but the entrepreneur thinks the name are not that catchy or are not, she's not comfortable with the fact to choose one of those names, she also can choose not to choose any of those names.
Okay.
We're here to offer our help. We are not here to impose our ideas.
Then maybe it will be helpful for him or for her, for the entrepreneur, to think about different aspects, different criteria that they haven't thought before.
Yes, this is why the framing phase is really important. As a hold-up facilitator, it's really important to understand the ins and outs with the entrepreneur. Because, for instance, if the entrepreneur, if the customers, they are 50, because you can make like puns that will only please youngsters. Or if you're selling stuff to pregnant women, you cannot make like jokes about pedophiles in the name of the brand. So
okay, of course.
no, that's something stupid. But like I'm overdoing it a little bit. But for instance, if you target a rather pushy customer segment, it will help you to ask better questions during the brainstorming. So that's the idea that will come out are pushy and will please the customer segments. This is why I will repeat it like maybe 100 times, but framing the challenge and speaking with the entrepreneur is really important so that you ask the good question and so that the outcome that comes out of the convergence phase are relevant.
Okay, yes. Okay.
When groups are working, so they're working separately, like they went in different rooms or in different part of the room, so that they are not getting like annoyed one with another. You go and speak with them about like the difficulties they might have to answer that specific question. You can encourage them. You can then don't forget to pick up the post-it, because if you're blocked, maybe if you look at the post-it one more time, it will give you good ideas. Or like pay attention, because like you're writing only like two words for the description. Remember that it has to fit within a tweet, because it's about a tweeting campaign that you're supposed to write now, and like it's far too long. So you can recall when they're working like in group during half an hour. You come to them regularly and you recall them if they're getting a little bit too aloof of the objectives, the constraints, and the entrepreneur's need and what she's expecting, what the entrepreneur is expecting. You can then help advise. If somebody is not speaking and someone is keeping the mic and giving all these ideas, not listening to other, you help other people to speak out and to participate. And so you help each group. It's most of the time rather comfortable to have a second animator, so that's during this phase you are two, and you can help each group with more attention. Then when there's 10 minutes left, you tell the participant that there's only 1 minute left and that they should be over with that to fill the template, so that they are hurrying a little bit. When there's 5 minutes left, you say that it's over, and you ask, and when you go through the group, you tell them also that someone will have to go on the scene and pitch the project, the solution that has been found in each group in front of the other groups. So at the end of the convergence phase, you got as many solutions as there are groups. And this is not compulsory. It depends on the time and depends on the audience. But what I advise you to do is to make a small exercise, which is called devils and angels. So each group will present its findings, its the solution that should attend the entrepreneur's need. And let's say that each group has 5 minutes. Let's say that there are 3 groups, and each group has 5 minutes to present its solution. So one group come and he presents its solution during 5 minutes. People will not, the other groups will not interrupt them. If they have questions or remarks, they can write them down on a post-it, for instance. But they listen, they pay, they do not disturb. And on the contrary, when the group is that has presented his solution is over, he has to listen to the remarks of the other groups without protesting, without saying, "Oh no, but you didn't understand me well. I was thinking about that," or "Yes, we thought about that." No, they do not speak. They take notes on the template that what the other participants are telling them. So why do we call that devils and angels? Is that when the group has pitched his project during 5 minutes, I will ask the other group, okay, so now they've spoken, now it's your turn. Why do you think this idea is great? And so people of the other group say, oh, this idea is relevant because nobody thought about addressing this customer segment that way before. It's relevant because it's a cheap way to do that. It's relevant because it's funny. It's relevant because so, and the group that proposed this solution, they will write the pros and why this solution is relevant. And after 2 minutes, you can say, okay, let's stop. In the end, this idea is not good. It's bad. There's several points that really I don't feel comfortable with. And so people will then pay attention and try to find all the barriers, the problems that might happen if this solution is implemented. So, the solution is really funny, but maybe it's a little bit shocking for this customer segment. This solution is funny, but it requires a lot of know-how, or it requires a full-time person, and we know that there's only 2 people in the company, so it's going to take too much time. This is not feasible. Okay? Yeah. And as I said, the guy on the front, on the recto of the page, he has. One second. On the recto of the page, they wrote the solution, they fill the template, and on the verso of the page, they wrote the pros and the cons that the other group gave them, the feedback. Okay? And so each group does that and gets the feedback from other group. And mostly, this is, and you can ask people then to make a more synthetic templates that take the feedback into account, but most of the time you don't have the time to do that. So at the end of these 4 phases, I would say, like presentation of the project with question and answers and rules and agenda and stuff like that, divergence or creativity or brainstorming when you reach for a lot of ideas, then convergence to channel, to make small groups work and channel the creativity within a concrete solution that match the constraints and the necessities of the entrepreneur, and then presentation of the solution and feedbacks. And you come out of your hold-up with templates. That's if you worked well the template with the entrepreneur that attends the entrepreneur's need, when there are different solutions with feedbacks, and you can directly give those sheets to the entrepreneur. What I advise you to do is that when the groups are presenting the solution, you can film them with your smartphone, so that you can publish it on the Facebook event later on. And don't hesitate also to take snapshots of the template, recto and verso, so that if the entrepreneur by any chance lose it, you can still share it with the participants and with the entrepreneur. And mostly you're done. But I'm going to ask you the question, do you really think that you're done now? Tim?
No.
What do you think there's still to be done after this?
For your gratitude, celebrate the results, share the results.
Exactly. Like you're the man, Tim. If it's over and like it's not enough because like you gave the solution to the entrepreneur, but it's not enough. What you have to do is you have to thank the participants for coming. You don't hesitate to let the entrepreneur express his gratitude to the participant too. Don't forget to take the email or the contact of everybody that was here so that you can contact them later on. What I advise you to do if you got some time, you can still go and drink a beer with everybody, a beer or anything else. And on the long term, you have to keep in touch also with the entrepreneur to get his feedback about the creativity workshop. What did he like? What are the solutions he thinks is going to put in action? What are the barriers that will prevent him to put the solution into action? And that the best things to do is to organize a follow-up between the participant and the entrepreneur. For instance, we had there was those girl who was like she makes fruit leather out of discarded fruits, and we made a creativity workshop for them for the launching. What would be the best setup as for the launching of the product, official launching of the product, and we came out with funny ideas. And like something like a month later, she did the official opening of her product, and like all the ideas that we had during the workshop,
You're
like she applied it. What? What did you say, Tim? It's still muted. Okay, so what I took a picture. I was there.
Excuse me. How long will you keep in touch with the entrepreneur after the holdup?
As long as possible. It depends on you. Everything is specific, but mostly what we do is that every time we organize a holdup, we publish beforehand the challenge on the Make Sense platform, and then we have a little application that makes that every 3 months we send an automatic email to the entrepreneur. Okay, we organized a workshop for you 3 months ago, and what happened now? Did you get some visual? Did you implement the idea? If yes, how did it work? If no, why? Maybe we can help you. We can keep helping you. So mostly we encourage you to stay in touch with entrepreneur as long as possible. Like the first entrepreneur we've made hold up for at Make Sense, we're still working with them today.
Okay. And could we have the same entrepreneur several times? Different holdups?
Yes. Like for the next 2 months, no. In 1 month, we're organizing 3 different holdups for the same entrepreneur, for instance.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, do you have any more questions about the holdup? About how can I help you?
Where can you find about the to make the interviews, the methodology for the interviews?
Yes, you can see on the Facebook group of the event, of the training, that I published several links, and between those links there is this booklet that will help you lead the interview with a social entrepreneur.
Okay, thanks.
So they're mostly everything. Okay. I'm on it. I ping you on the specific document, Clara.
Thanks.
Anybody has any other question?
No. Thanks.
Nope.
I have another question.
Yes.
How do you address the issue of expertise? Like, if you have a challenge that you need very specific knowledge about, then some people might not know the context within which you're working, so they can't really give you ideas that are relevant.
If you need expertise, and then like a hold up can be useful, but it cannot do everything. For instance, if you need, if an entrepreneur comes to you and I need to find a chemical formula so that the plastic I get from the dump, when I mix them, it's still the same quality. Like, you cannot do a creativity workshop. Creativity is good for marketing, for mobilization. It's good for, it can be good for logistics, but like, this is why we have tools to address some specific challenges of entrepreneurs, but we cannot attend all the challenges. For instance, like, we're good at crowdfunding, finding names, mobilizing communities, finding new business models. What else? Designing a new customer journey. So these are all methodology Make Sense is good at, but if you need expertise, there are two options. You either select your attendees, so that's, for instance, if you're working with plastic chemistry, like, you only work with people that are in a school, that are engineer and that are working on that subject. Or maybe if it's it need a little bit of expertise, but not that much, you can invite an expert to train and explain the ins and outs of that specific challenge to the attendees, so that people give relevant ideas. I have this specific aspect, like, for instance, the guy who is collecting composts. There are some specific expertise that are needed, because compost is not just a pile of organic waste. A compost, you have to make a good balance between, like, carbon and azote. Compost, like, you have to mix it in a certain way so that the temperature raise and that the seeds that are within the organic waste are killed and will not, like, hinder the farmer when he will use the compost in his field. So it needs a specific expertise, but it's no problem, because we are organizing the specific hold up in agronomy school. So, as you said, a hold up is good for specific challenges, but it's not good for everything. So either you work and you make sure that your attendees are experts, either you make a little training beforehand, or you make an expert speak about it, or either you say to the entrepreneur, what I can do is that we'll talk about your challenge in the Make Sense community, and for sure there are some universities, there are some other entrepreneurs that will help you, and we can put you through, and they're going to help you through email or through Facebook. But a hold up is good for solving some challenges, but not all the challenges. Is it good for you, Tim?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Bertrand, Clara, Liliana. PP Yup, what is your real name? Okay, you cannot unmute your microphone. And Tim, thank you very much.
And I have a last question, please. Yes. Should we choose for the participants with a specific profile, or not necessarily? About if we are talking about a general problem, no, not some problem, no. We're talking about
no. I really think that, like, for instance, as far as a marketing challenge are concerned, like, everybody in some way is a customer, so everybody can have good ideas. As far as naming, everybody like can make puns, so there's no need except for really like specific challenges that need technical or scientific expertise. It's not necessary to select your attendees.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That's clear.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Clara, I'm posting the document so that you have it because I thought I did it, but I did not. And see you soon.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope to see you soon.
And like I'm wanting to have a follow-up too. So maybe you have my we'll share my email with you. It's Antoine.
Yes, that will be good.
Antoine at makesense.org.
Maybe you can write it, your email?
Yes, I wrote it. And so if you have other questions, I really would like to know when you are going to animate your hold-up. Was this training useful? Was there some stuff that I forgot to mention? So I need your feedback, and I need to know more about like the hold-up you're going to organize in the coming weeks or in the coming months.
Okay. Yes, of course.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you too.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye.